Hello everybody, and welcome to my developer commentary playthrough of my very first custom map, Trapped in Innsmouth. First off, thank you so much for checking out my map and or this video. I really appreciate that. It is my first attempt, so I kept things relatively short and sweet and simple, just so I wouldn't get too frustrated and end up quitting or anything. So hopefully you enjoyed it, despite it being relatively quick. Anyway, I thought it would be fun to show you guys what's going on behind the scenes, what I did to make this map work. So first what we're going to do is do a quick playthrough. If you have not played the map yet, please do not continue watching because it will not be any fun after you've seen exactly what it is you need to do. So let me pop my book in this chest real quick because I don't need it right now. Make sure you read that because that'll explain what's going on in the map. So let's go ahead and just get started. I'll go ahead and flip this lever here, and I can get myself a feather, which is not very useful right now. I'm not gonna do this just yet. So if you guys have already played the map, you obviously know what's going on already. And here, when I walk over here, you can see I've turned my command block output on. My spawn gets set when I'm over here. That comes in later on. Basically, I wanted to set the player's spawn right here. But because Minecraft is Minecraft, when I load this into MC Edit and try to set the spawn here, I can't because I don't have enough air blocks above me or something like that. It's kind of glitchy, so I just used command blocks to check for the player location around here, and when they come over here, reset the spawn, because if people die, I want to make sure they come back in this room. So, before I grab that dagger, let me grab a little bit of milk for myself, because I'm going to get a potion effect and things are going to happen a little bit. So this is actually a wooden sword. I renamed the item in the language file. It's only for the English language, so if you're not playing in English, I guess that you're going to have a bad time, but it's not a big deal. And I did this, I guess I'll get into the redstone of it later, but I did this for an inventory check. So there's a command block looking for a wooden sword, and then when it sees it, it removes the wooden sword and it'll give you a stone sword instead. And since creating that, I've found out better ways to do it, but I figured I'd leave it in because it works. So once you take this, an event is going to happen. There you go, so you can see the commands. I'll go ahead and drink my milk here. So that spawns a zombie over here. And the zombie is supposed to have a speed effect on him, but there's something about this adding that effect. It doesn't seem to work properly. I've read up a lot about it on the forums and stuff, and it seemed like people were saying it just doesn't work these days, for some reason. So let's see, I cleared that one item, I played a custom sound, I gave the player blindness, and I gave them a small dagger, which is basically the same item, it's just a stone sword that's retextured and renamed. And then summoned the zombie. So that's just supposed to be a little scare event that happens once you get an important item like this. So then once you have this, oh wait, I'm in creative mode. Once you have that, you're supposed to be able to get some string. So I'll just go ahead and give myself a little bit of string. We'll just take 5. Alright, and then you can keep exploring. And, oh, what's this? Played sound to Cthulhu 2. This is a creepy, oh, I hope creepy, sound that's just supposed to happen when you're over in this general area. Some rats kind of scurrying and gnawing in the walls. That's a reference to an H.P. Lovecraft story called Rats in the Wall. Or Rats in the Walls, whatever. Basically, there wasn't much going on this side of the room, so I just wanted to add a little something something. And this is really simple. It's just a pulse here that's checking for the player in a specific area. So those are the coordinates with a radius of 2. So basically, if you are around here somewhere, then it'll play the sound. Play Rats in the Walls sound. And that's the sound that I had kind of cobbled together out of a couple different sound effects that I found for free online. And I think it's kind of cool. So, let's see, you can also get a golden apple that'll help you stay alive if you take too much damage from either that zombie or something else that'll come later on down the road. So let's continue exploring, see what else we can do. Here is H.P. Lovecraft in very pixelated form. Oh, a piece of flint. I will take that. Oh, I have nausea. The lights are off, and there seems to be a creeper who would be aggroed on me. if I wasn't in creative mode. There we go. Okay, let's get rid of that action. And then the lights come back on. And I'll get into this more, how that redstone worked, in a little bit. So, oh, what is this? This painting, it seems to have something behind it. Oh my goodness, I am so frightened. So this is just a retextured block. I pulled the creeper face off of a cool texture pack I had found, and I just wanted to have a cheap little jump scare in case people notice that there's something back here. And then I had to put this glass block because one of my beta testers realized, hey, you can grab that redstone torch and you can get through the iron door before you're supposed to and break the game. I think that was Jarbo actually, Jarbo52 that found that out for me. So yeah, cheap little jump scare there. Just thought it'd be fun to do. So I now have a few items, but I don't have all the items I need. So basically, when you're walking around and you are collecting the cobwebs, I'm hoping that you'll notice this button down here. I realize it's pretty dang dark and maybe too hard to find, but none of my beta testers complained about it, so I decided to leave it as is. But if you hit this, you should get an audio cue from yours truly.
I wonder if that button did anything.
I wonder indeed. Now, it's a little bright over there, so you don't notice it as much, but you're supposed to be able to see that lighting cue there. So you will realize that,
I wonder if that button
there's a
did
timed
anything.
event. I should come over here, and ooh, I should find some sticks. There we go. Alright, now, thanks to another one of my beta testers, I believe Writer Tyler, he noticed that when you have these items in your inventory, you can craft stuff that you're not supposed to be able to, and you can break the game. You could make either a block of wool or a fishing rod, and you are not supposed to make either of those. So thanks to his feedback, I've made it so that if you do craft such a thing,
This won't help me.
there you go. Your item gets removed, I tell you it's not a good thing to do, and then you get refunded the items, and that will happen every time. Same thing with a block of wool.
This won't help me.
Yep, so thank you very much, Writer Tyler, for that. Because if you had a block of wool, you would be able to access this chest too early on, and that would be a bad thing. So what you are supposed to do is craft a bow, boop,
I bet I can use this somehow.
and then you get a little cue there, and you can make some arrows. And then just to make sure that the player had enough arrows, once you get these in your inventory, you'll be given a full stack of arrows. I was thinking of adding an enchantment to the bow, but in order to add enchantments via command block, the player actually has to be holding the item at the time. So I thought it'd be easier to just give a butt ton of arrows and leave it at that. So, if you noticed some light coming out of this little box, you probably realized what you can do. There's a wooden button back there that I don't think is pressable. I hope it isn't, because otherwise that would break the map, but I was never able to, and none of my testers were able to without breaking any blocks, which you're not supposed to do. So you're supposed to be able to shoot, and then once you do shoot the button, then you'll get audio cue.
Well, that must have done something.
There you go. So that hints to you that something has happened. So basically at this point, that's all you have to go off of. So I'm hoping that people just kind of wander around and check things out some more, see if anything's changed. And indeed it has. You come in here and the wall is no longer here, and the scare sound and effect don't play anymore because I've disabled that. So basically when I was first making the map, before I was even doing command block stuff, I had just set up some simple redstone to have a piston move so that the gravel and sand fall down and it's now smooth. So I've retextured the gravel to look like the stone block. But then later on, when I was getting more comfortable with command blocks, I decided to just use the block to look for a specific block in this coordinate here and remove it. So I'm kind of half and half right now. There's still some gravel down there and everything, but yeah, it's kind of cobbled together, but it works. So now you can get a couple more items, and you can flip a switch, and when you come out here, you're like, oh, look at this under the light. There is now a block here I can stand on. And obviously these are just retextured trapdoors, but I really liked them as horizontal iron bars. So I'm happy with how that turned out. And then you can get this iron ore. You can come over here, you can cook up the iron ore, And then I think it's pretty obvious what you're supposed to do after this, once you have a piece of iron and a piece of flint in your inventory. So we'll just take that, and then, oh wait, I can't craft it. Derp. We'll just go flint and steel. So at this point, I'm getting a little bit better with my inventory checking. So it checks for flint and steel, finds it, removes it, then gives it back to you after playing the event, and then disabling the check. So we'll pop that in there.
I wonder if anything in here is flammable.
And that's just a little cue to get you to try to burn stuff. So yeah, you can burn these banners. They are very woolly looking. Thank you very much for helping me out with that, Link Ruler. I had originally just come up with like a really plain red background, and I knew it didn't look good, but I didn't really know what to do. And somehow I didn't think of this, but Link Ruler did. He just retextured the red to look like wool, and then he retextured this gold bar up here to look like a gold block. So thank you very much for that help. And these are just some random characters that I thought looked cool and would add to the kind of creepy factor. So, especially with the wool texture, I think that's a pretty good hint that you're supposed to burn those things. And you can burn the other ones too, but there's nothing behind them. And then once that is burned, Minecraft, you can access this, which is explosives. I retextured the actual item once it's placed, but I didn't retexture the item icon because I wanted it to be fairly obvious what you're supposed to do with this. So once I get this, I should get another audio cue. Explosives. I may be able to blast my way out of here. Yes, you may, Cthulhu. Yes, you may. So, you have a bed, and it's called explosives, and you may be able to blast your way out. And if you place it like that, it looks like TNT. So, hint hint, you're trying to get out of this room. You have a bed that's labeled explosives. When does a bed explode? When it is in a hell biome. And where are you trying to get through? The door. And then recently I just added these two mossy blocks to kind of hint a little bit more at what you're supposed to do. But both of those blocks are in a hell biome, so you can pop that down, and you can right click it, and it'll explode. And then you can get out of jail free. Now this down here is actually bedrock. I've retextured that to look like cracked stone brick, so it wouldn't look too garish once things explode. Alright, and then you are on your way to victory and escape. Hooray! Except for the fact that you won't. When you come through here, there you go. So you get a bunch of slowness. I remove any... Oh yeah, I remove any regular stone blocks in case you pick them up from the explosion, because I don't want you to be able to block off the creature. But basically, this is supposed to be one of the fishmen that is coming to get you. And I've reskinned the pigman, and I've given him new sounds, and I made him invincible. I gave him a high enough resistance rating that he will never die, and I gave him extra strength, and I tried to give him I tried to give him extra speed, but again, that doesn't seem to be working well. So we will just switch to creative really quick, or switch to peaceful real quick, get rid of that guy. And that is basically the map. You are supposed to die when that happens. When everything is getting set off over there, it also resets your spawn to where the final room is, the thank you for playing type room. So that's why I have the spawn set over here. So if you die beforehand, you respawn in the room. Once you pass over there and you die, then you respawn back there. So let's go ahead and fly around a little bit, and we will look at some of the redstone that's going on behind the scenes. So this was a bad place to come out. So here we go. Here is the above the map area where all the redstone stuff is happening. So first off, hopefully you notice the flickering light. This is something I am really pleased with. This is a design by KMB Comhere, something like that. I was looking around on YouTube and the internets for a design, and I found this one, and I thought it worked really well, and it was really cool. So I will have a link in the description to his original video. Basically, there's just a hopper clock basically that's passing a item back and forth, and it sends a pulse here. And then there are doors. They're basically non-stackable items. Doors and then a piece of bedrock, and they get passed back and forth between here, which creates the actual flicker and everything. And he goes into greater detail of the mechanics on how this works. But basically, the more doors you have, it'll change the flicker, like how long the light is on or off before it flickers, that sort of thing. So I thought that was a really elegant design. Make sure to check out his video to get a better explanation of how that works. But I was really pleased with it. Alright, let's go over here. This is where most of the events and inventory checks happen. So this is, let's not start with that one. This is the found sword event. So basically this command block is checking for the wooden sword in your inventory, and then once it finds it, it will replace with a stone sword. It will give the blindness effect, it'll play the sound, and it'll spawn the mob. So yeah, this pulse, I have this pulse basically on every bit of redstone I'm working with here, and that just continually checks for you know, what you're supposed to be looking for. And then over here we have the found flint event for the first piece of flint that you find in the furnace under Shub Niggurath. If you're if you're unfamiliar, Shub Niggurath is a character from H.P. Lovecraft stories, and Shrub Niggurath is kind of just a cheesy pun that I've run across before, and I thought it'd be fun to use it in the map. So that's what that's all about. So this is basically the same as this event. You check for the item, then you give the flint back after you remove it. Oops, I mean, yes, the check actually removes because it's a clear command. So you remove the item, you give it back. There's a little bit of a delay for giving it back because this command block will disable this check. It's a set block command, and I'm setting an air block at this location to replace the redstone, so I basically turn off the check. So I'm checking, I find it, I disable the check, and then I give the item back. Because otherwise, if you give the item back, it would just remove it again, and then give it again, remove it again, give it again, and things wouldn't work properly. And I don't know what the deal is, but with the set block command, when I was making this in one of the 1.7 snapshots, the coordinates were always off by, I believe, 2. So I'm looking for -612 right now. And it's supposed to be this block right here, and it's actually, okay, it's actually 611. But yeah, I did this kind of set block in a couple different areas, and I always had to fidget around with it to actually get the right coordinates, because they weren't what they were supposed to be, unless I'm making some terrible mistake. Alright, so then you play sound, and you give the effect, which is, let's see. Oh, I'm summoning the creeper, and I'm trying to give him speed. We'll see if that actually works or not. And then I also, when the creeper gets summoned, I turn off the lights in the room, if you had noticed, except for the flicker light, because I think it's so cool. So basically what this is some more set blocks. I set a piece of bedrock, wait a second, redstone blocks, there we go. So basically, once this gets hit, 2 redstone blocks get placed. One right above this redstone intersection, and one right above this one. And basically I have back here, I have this little, I don't even know if you could call it a circuit, but I have that redstone set up. So once this redstone is on, it'll turn off all the lights. So once the event starts, the redstone blocks get placed and the lights get turned off. And then I have a really cheap, poor man's, lazy man's version of a timer here. Lazy man's timer. And then once that runs out, then the redstone blocks get replaced with air, so then the lights turn back on. So that's how that event works. Pretty straightforward, all in all. I also have some game rules set up here via command block, and I just set those up so I would remember what's what. Let's see, what next? The painting scare, we could do that. Again, it's just a check for player, oops, hello. It's just a simple check for a player location, and obviously that's disabled now. And then you play sound and you give the nausea effect. Pretty simple. Over here we have the fishing rod check and the white wool check, things that you're not supposed to have. So again, same thing, same check there, and then I say that doesn't seem right or something like that, and then I refund the string. And then the same with this. Over here, we have check for arrows. And here I was playing around with a different type of recheck disabler instead of replacing with an air block, because I did have to fidget around with the coordinates so much. So this time, all it does is sends a redstone pulse back here. The piston pushes away the piece of redstone that was making the pulse continue. So pretty basic, pretty simple, just another way of doing it that I wanted to play around with. And I did the same thing over here with checking for a bed, and same thing here for checking for a bow. So all of these inventory checks are basically the same. I just use them for different items and in different ways. This is the setting the spawn point once the player gets into the right location. And let's see, the last bit I really want to talk about over here, this stuff happens once you hit that wooden arrow or wooden button with an arrow. The redstone pulse comes back here, it plays the hint, it disables the scare event behind the painting, and then I replace the scare block, which was a retextured sand block. And this is where the set block stuff really comes in handy, because I can change something on the other side of the map from here, which is really cool. Because before, I was just using this really kind of sloppy redstone to come all the way over here, and then this would move the pistons so that the gravity blocks could fall down and open up the rest of that passageway. So that's kind of a quick and dirty way of doing it, but now with command blocks, you can basically have wireless redstone, which is really nice. And I was just too lazy to replace everything because I already made it. Alright, so what else do we need to talk about? Here's just the basic redstone for when you flip the switch, and then this dispenser will shoot out a feather for you. I have a couple feathers in there just in case something happens, like they get stuck in a wall or something. Over here, this is once you gain access to the back portion of the behind the painting area. You flip the switch, the redstone comes down here and pushes the piston up to give you access to that other chest. This is when you hit that hidden button in the dark. It'll play the hint saying, I wonder if that did anything, and then the redstone runs over here and it pulls back the piston for a little while so you can access that chest that's hidden. So very simple there. And then the last portion of the map, now this, I really wanted this to work. This is not implemented yet. So I was watching a video by the guy who made the staircase map, because everybody knows about the staircase. It's really cool. It's a really great horror map with a lot of really interesting redstone stuff happening. And he has a very short kind of video about how he did the looping music for his map, because I really wanted to have some creepy background music going. And it kind of works, but kind of doesn't. He goes through his video and talks about how each command block is set up, but he doesn't specify what this one does, and I'm not smart enough to get it figured out, so I was not able to get this part working. So maybe that'll come later on in other versions of the map. I don't know. But that's basically what that is. I left it in just in case I could implement it later on. And then over here, this is what happens once you're walking down the hallway and everything starts to spawn and you get killed. So this is checking for player location. This, once you get to that location, it'll set your spawn to the ending room over there like you're supposed to, so after you get killed by the fishmen. This will remove any stone bricks that are in your inventory so you can't block the creatures off. This gives you the slowness effect so that the creature can catch up with you pretty quick. And this will actually summon the fishmen. And I guess I haven't really looked at the commands themselves very much, but you guys can let me know in the description or in the comments if you would like to see more of that. So this is just a basic summon command. I summon the pig zombie at a certain location, and then I can use these tags to specify or to customize the spawn basically. So I have this equipment here. I give him ID 272, which is a sword, a stone sword I believe, and I can set his anger to true, so he's automatically aggroed at me, or at the player I should say. And then I give him active effects, which are the potions, and I give him speed, which, like I've mentioned, doesn't seem to be working very well. and I have the ambient turned off so you don't see the particle effects. And then ID 5, I can't remember if that's strength or resistance actually, but that's one of the two, and I just give it a long duration. And then the other of the two. I believe 5 is strength and 11 is resistance, something like that. And yeah, I amplify it enough so the resistance basically makes him invincible. And that's all that is, actually. And then after that, I play that action music basically, but I only want it to play once, because if the player goes back and forth between those checked coordinates, it'll restart the music. So the signal comes through here, plays the music, and then I pass it around and I hit the piston, which breaks that redstone so that this portion of the circuit will not get replayed. But if you do cross back and forth some more, you will spawn more fishmen to make it even scarier. And that is the map in a nutshell. That's how everything works. I hope I explained stuff well enough. All of these commands I use are pretty basic commands and are very well documented in the forums and the wiki. Really the most complicated command I had to use was the summon pigmen, because it had a couple different effects and an item. But it's pretty straightforward. And then once you get respawned after being killed like you're supposed to, you'll come over here. You should spawn right here. And this is where I do my thanks, my credits, and some shoutouts for my testers. So first off, thanks for playing. I really do appreciate you guys playing the map and checking it out, and hopefully you've enjoyed this little DevCom as well. And if you are interested, if you would like to see more of what I do on my channel, there it is for your perusal. So here are my alpha testers, the people who tried out the map very early on when it was still quite rusty and I didn't even have many textures implemented. Basically, I just wanted to know how things were going, how the little quote-unquote puzzles were working out, and things like that. So Link Ruler is a guy that I met through playing one of his maps, and he helped out a lot with this. He helped with some textures and had some really good feedback for me. So thank you very much, Link Ruler. In Minecraft 4781, I've also played one of his maps, and he was very helpful. I thought I just heard something weird. I don't know. Ryder Tyler, I've known him basically since my channel started. I played his Great Survival Maze a long time ago, over a year ago now, and we've been pretty good friends since then, and he was a great help as well. Madman is a really cool subscriber of mine that I've done a lot of stuff with recently, a lot of multiplayer type stuff, and he was very helpful with testing out the map and had some great feedback for me, as well as Smeltscape. He's a relatively newer subscriber, but he's been very active with my channel, and I like to get people involved in what I do, so I asked Smeltscape to help test. So thank you very much, Smelt, for helping out. And then after I'd put some more polishing on the map and got things pretty much finished up, I had a couple beta testers try things out. First off, my wifey. I had her play through the map and just kind of looked over her shoulder and timed her to see about how long the map would take. And I figured after that, maybe about 15 minutes, give or take. So thank you very much, wifey. And Jarbo52. He's another guy that has a cool YouTube channel you should check out. And he helped out quite a lot with testing, and he's been pretty cool hanging out with me in various ways and just participating a lot in my channel as well. So thank you very much, Jarbo. And End Effect. He is a fellow member of the Night Owl server. Actually, after my hiatus of doing SMP stuff, I had kind of gotten burned out on vanilla Minecraft. End Effect talked me back into coming back to the Night Owl server, and I'm very glad he did. And he also helped out a lot with the testing. So thank you very much, End Effect. And last but not least, over here, some credits and thanks. Again, thank you to KMB Comer for the awesome design on the flashing light. And they also used two different songs from Kevin MacLeod, and Computech.com. Pretty much every YouTuber ever has used his stuff. And thanks again to the alpha and beta testers, and thanks to all of you for trying out the map. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did enjoy it, please spread the news. I'd love to get as many people trying out this map as possible. If this map was any good, I'd love to hear that so I could maybe get an impetus for creating another map. If it was not good, feel free to tell me why, because I'd love to improve, and if I ever do make another map, hopefully that one will be even better. All feedback is welcome as long as it is constructive criticism, and I hope to hear back from you guys about what you think of the map.